right, so we're going to do 3 problems together here, and we're going to work on making systematic lists. Okay, so we're going to work on making systematic lists. So this one should sound very familiar to you. It's the Modern Basketball Association. So each team in a new basketball league will play 3 games against each of the other teams. There are 7 teams: the Antelopes, the Bears, the Cubs, the Dusters, the Eagles, the Foxes, and the Goats. How many games will be played in all? Okay, we're going to make a systematic list to answer this. We did this when we were drawing diagrams. Remember how we kept drawing lines to each group? Okay, but now they want us to answer this same question by making a list of who's going to play who. All right, so if you remember, these animals, can't speak. The animals start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so I'm just going to use those first letters because I don't want to write out antelope a whole bunch of times. All right, so let's think about, in a systematic order, who all the antelopes are going to play. The antelopes are going to play the Bears. The Bears. Yep. The antelopes are going to play the Cubs. The antelopes are going to play the Dusters. The antelopes are going to play the Eagles, the Foxes, and the Goats, right? So I made a list of everybody that the antelopes were going to play. And I even kept them in the same order that they gave us so I didn't forget. I didn't accidentally skip over anybody. I just kept them in the order they gave us. Again, remember, this is all about being very systematic. All right, so now let's think about the Bears. Let's think about the Bears. The Bears are going to have to play the Cubs. The Bears are going to play the Dusters. The Bears are going to play the Eagles. The Bears are going to play the Foxes, and the Bears are going to play the Goats. We don't need to say the Bears are going to play the Antelopes because we already have that listed here with the Antelopes, right? So I dealt with everybody the Antelopes are going to play with. Then I dealt with everybody that the Bears are going to deal with. Now I'm going to do it for the Cubs. Okay, so the Cubs still have to play the Dusters. The Cubs are going to play the Eagles. The Cubs are going to play the Foxes. And the Cubs still need to play the Goats. Guys, what do we need to talk about back there? So now the Dusters need to play the Eagles, the Foxes, and the Goats, right? Yeah. The Eagles are going to have to play the Foxes, and the Eagles are going to play the Goats. We're down to the end of the list again, and then we have the Foxes still have to play the Goats. So see how I dealt with the Antelopes all first, and then the Bears, and then all the Cub games, and then all the remaining Dusters, all the remaining Eagles, all the remaining Foxes, right? All right, so count them up. Okay, so we have 21 games listed, right? But if you remember, they played 3 games each.
63.
So I got to multiply by 3 and make it 63, which we knew the last time, right? We figured out the number the last time because we counted them when we were drawing all those lines. It kind of looked like a crazy star. Okay, but this time we answered it by making a systematic list. Questions on that one? All right, next one. It's called Penny's Dimes. Penny's Dimes. It says Penny has 15 dimes. She likes to arrange them into 3 piles, putting an odd number of dimes into each pile. And how many ways would she do this? All right, so first of all, what are odd numbers? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? Not divisible by 2. Okay, so she has 15 dimes. She wants to put them into 3 different piles. So pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. So let's actually, but we would have been very systematic about it. So what if I did 1? I'll start the smallest number here, 1. Can I have a 0? Is 0 even or odd? No. So it's going to be 1, 1, and now I need to have how many dimes are going to total 15? So I have 1 here, 1 here. I need a total of 15, so that means I would need 13 here. So we're going to start with making a list of just having 1 dime in pile 1. Okay, so if I keep a 1 here, I would need to increase this to what? I'm going to keep only odd numbers, so 3. So how many dimes do I need in my last pile? 11. Because 11 plus 3 plus 1 gives me 15. Next one, I'm going to keep my 1, but I need to increase pile 2 to have a 5. Now I have 9. Now it's going to go 1. If I increase by 2, I have 7. Then I need to decrease by 2. So I have 7 again, right? All right, so now, what happens if I go 1, 9, what would this become? 5, but don't I already have the pile 1, 9, and 5? I do. I already have that pile, so I don't need to count it again. I don't need to count it again, so you can erase it, you can draw a line or whatever. All right, so now I'm starting to repeat, so let's increase pile 1. Let's increase pile 1. So what can I increase it to? What's our next odd number? 3. And then I have a 1. I need to start at the bottom again. So 3, 1. What would I have here? 11. I already have that one. Okay, so then what about 3, 3? What would I have? 9? Because 6 plus 9 is 15. I don't have that one yet. All right, so then I can go 3, 5, 7.
So it's the same thing, you just use 3 instead of 1. You just constantly use 3.
Yep. So then I can start with 3 again, but what's going to happen? I'm going to have 7, 5, and that's going to be a repeat. Right? Okay, so I need to bump this up now. 5. Okay, so if I go 5, 1, do I have another 5 and 1 over here? Yep. Do I have another 5 and 3? Yep. I already have that. So I can do 5 and 5. I don't have 2 5s yet. So it'd be a 5 in my last column as well. Okay, do I have a 5 and a 7 combination? Yep, right here. About 5 and 9. Yep, I have one over here, so that's done, right? We okay with that? Okay, so now let's go 7s. So 7, 1, do I have that?
Yeah.
Yep. How about 7, 3? I have a 7 and 3. How about 7, 5? 7 and 5, I have one. How about 7 and 7?
Yeah.
I have a 7, 7, 1. How about a 7, 9?
That'd be 16.
That'd be 16. So we actually are done here. We can keep checking. Because then I would go to 9s. Right? I'd have a 9, 1, 5. How about 9, 3? I'd have a 3. 9, 5 would be 14. I have a 9-5 yet? Oh, yep, 9-5 and 1. Yes.
Can we cut out the 195 on the bottom because it's the 125?
Because we already have one here. Yep. Yep. So how many different ways could we sort these dimes? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways. So again, it's really more about the process and doing it in a very systematic way so we don't accidentally skip over something. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so last problem. Last problem. It says, on a famous episode of Star Trek, Captain Kirk and the gang played a card game called Fizbit. This problem is about another game called Frisbit. The object of Frisbit is to throw 3 frisbees at 3 different sized bins that are set up on the ground about 20 feet away. If a frisbee lands in the largest bin, the player scores 1 point. If the frisbee lands in a medium-sized bin, they score 5 points. If it lands in the smallest bin, they score 10. So Kirk playing the game. If all 3 of his frisbees land in bins, how many different total scores can he make? Okay, there's a lot of words that we don't need. Right? So first of all, he can land it in a 1-point bin, a 5-point bin, and a 10-point bin. Right? Those are all our different options. He's going to land all 3. So he gets 3 tosses with this frisbee. He's going to land all 3. So what if all 3 of them land in a 1-point bin? What is his total? He got 3 points total, right? So keep in mind, all 3 frisbees landed in this first bin. Okay, so now let's think about what if only 2 frisbees landed here. If only 2 frisbees landed here, that means it could have been 1 in a 5-point bin, which means 0 here, right? So that's 5, 6, 7. Good. I can still keep it at 2 here, but I would have to change my 1 here to drop that down to 0, which means I'd have to have a 1 in my 10-point bin. That's 12. All right, is there any other way I can do 2s? No, so okay, let's do 1, 1. What would this have to be? This would be 1, 1, and 1, right? So that's 16, good. All right, I can keep a 1 here. What if I drop this to 0? So if I drop that to 0, this would be 2 frisbees went in the last bin, right? Are we okay? So that would be 21 points. Because you got 2 frisbees in a 10-point bin. So 10, 20, plus 1 more is 21. Is that okay? All right, so we kept our 1s. We did 1, 0. So now we got to drop down to 0. So 0, let's start the biggest number possible here. That would be 3. So all 3 could go in here. Oh, we skipped one. I missed one. Sorry. I didn't start with my biggest number. I could have had 1, 2, 0, right? That should have, if I was doing my list better, I would have gone right in here. So what does 1, 2, 0 give us? That's 11. Good, sorry about that. All right, now we can drop down to 0. So if I do 0, start with my biggest number possible, this would be 3. And then I have 0 left to go in here. So how many points is that? 15. Okay, keep my 0, drop this down a number. So I'm going to go down to 2, which means my last column has to be 1. We have 20 there. right, so drop it down again. So I have 0, 1, 2, which gives me 21. Okay, then last one, I have 0, 0. If I got all three in there, then I have 30. Okay, so now let's see what the question was. How many different total scores could he make? Well, this is kind of the only thing you have to be careful of. We have two 21s, right? What's that? This one right here? No. Right here, there'd be 10, 25. Oh, you're right. You're 12, sorry. Yep, you're right, sorry. So do we have any duplicates? No, I don't see any duplicates. We have 9 different possibilities. 9 different ways that you can score. Did I miscount even? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that's 10. Sorry, I should probably go home now. Here we go. How about 10? Questions on that? Okay, again, so it's really about the process in terms of doing it in a logical order so that you don't miss anything. I have one problem for you to do and turn in with your work, okay? Okay, after you're done with this, you can bring it out and turn it in, and then what I want you to do is go to the progress book and check your grades. Any missing work is due by the end of the period, unless you've been out for multiple days. Okay? Everybody else, all missing work is due by the end of the period.